So guys, the government has commissioned what we call the NHS long-term workforce plan. So this was commissioned to set out a series of interventions to do three things. These are to train, to retain, and to reform the whole, workforce structure and to meet up with all these shortage, the challenges that they are facing and all that. Honestly, the workforce plan is quite lengthy. I can't say confidently that maybe I have read about 85% of it, and I have only picked the parts that really interest me. So I'm going to summarize everything in this video. Stop that. Like I said, this long-term workforce plan is a 15-year plan. They want to use this 15-year period to train their workforce and to retain their workforce. We all know the shortage issues, and to reform the whole NHS workforce structure, okay? So they can meet up with challenges over this 15-year period, So the government has pledged or is willing to fund this workforce plan with £2.4 billion. So the first thing that interests me most is international recruitment. What does the NHS or the government has planned in terms of international recruitment for the NHS? So obviously, people have been bashing the government left and right that it is taking more nurses from countries that need healthcare workforce most, and to those countries' detriment, and for the NHS, blah blah blah. They have said in this workforce plan that they aim to reduce international recruitment in the medium to long term. Yes. So let me read the exact words. So it says that the proposals will see the NHS become less reliant on international recruitment in the medium to long term, not in the short term. So for this short period, they're still going to recruit. But for the medium to long term, they aim to be less reliant and not recruit as much international healthcare workforce. So it says currently international staff make up almost a quarter, that's 24% of all new joiners to the NHS every year. By 2036-2037, it is hoped this will fall to between 9 and 10.5% a year. The NHS will always retain some level of overseas recruitment to give providers flexibility and as a source of wider and diverse talent. The NHS wrote, okay? So they said that they would always, give overseas applicants the chance because they like the diversity in the talent. However, at present, number of foreigners joining the NHS annually is about 24%. However, they want to reduce this to as low as 9 to 10.5% in the next few years to come. And they said this is their medium to long-term goal, not short-term. So this is the major thing when it comes to international recruitment. What this means also is that in the short term, there's still going to be massive recruitment because they plan to have an extra 60,000 doctors, 170,000 more nurses, and 71,000 more allied health professionals in place by 2036-2037. And trust me, they're not going to get all these people from the UK. The UK nurses in training in all the UK schools will not make up this 170,000. So they'll still, in the short term, be heavily dependent on foreign trained nurses. So that is that in terms of international recruitment. So that's what I know that most people will be interested in. Sorry for the interruption, guys, but I need to say this. So this video is proudly sponsored by Lemfi. Does it sound familiar? Yes. Lemonade Finance is no more Lemonade Finance. It's now Lemfi. Same old goodness, but this time even much, much better. So Lemfi is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK, Canada to 10 different African countries. Talking about Ghana, talking about Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Benin, and no charge at all, no transfer charge. You can send money using Lemfi, whether you use an Android or whether you use an iOS. Just use the link in the description, okay? And for your first transfer above £100, if you use the referral code Nanelle or you use the referral link in the description, you're going to get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. So if you send £100, you're going to get £10 back. If you send £200, you're going to get £20 back, but it's capped at £50, okay? Lemfi has the best rates on the market. This is not even a debate. Like, ask everybody, ask around. Best rates ever. Don't believe me? Just give it a try, okay? Ever since I discovered it, that's what myself, my family, and all my friends have been using ever since we discovered it. Make your first transfer now, okay? Lemfi is so reliable. Lemfi is so convenient, and Lemfi is the best transfer app on the market, honestly. Thank you so much, Lemfi, for sponsoring today's video. So the other things are double the medical school places to 15,000 a year. So they want to increase the number of medical doctors in the NHS, still this whole shortage. So now the number of, let's say if Oxford could only take 500 medical students each year, now they want to double it. So in a year, they want to have as much as 15,000 medical school places in a year. So that means previously it was about 7,500 medical school places per year. So they're doubling the places, right? Another thing is they want to increase GP training places by 50%. So they want more doctors to enter primary care sector. So they're also going to increase the number of doctors that they train as GPs, okay? And for that one, they actually gave a date. They said that they are going to increase the number of GP training places by 50%. That's 2,000 more, okay, to 6,000 by 2031. So to ensure more newly trained doctors enter primary care, first 500 new places will be available from September 2025. Another major thing that they mentioned is to double nurse and midwife training to 24,000 a year. Wow. By 2031, they aim to double the number of adult nurse training places, with around 24,000 more nurse and midwife training places by year 2031. Within this, they also want to train over 5,000 more mental and learning disability nurses every single year. So that's it. Another thing is they want 1 in 5 clinical staff trained through apprenticeships. Okay, so the NHS will be training a lot of medical staff through apprenticeships, like maybe nurse associate apprenticeship programs, etc. And then it says 2,000 people will be awarded medical degrees through apprenticeships, and then a 5-fold rise in assistant roles such as nurse associate and all that. So they want to increase the number of the assistant roles, like the physician associate, nurse associate roles. So they also want to work very closely with the General Medical Council to move from a 5 to 4 year undergraduate degree program, and will pilot medical internship programs for newly qualified doctors. So this will shorten the undergraduate training time. So the medical school program was a 5-year undergraduate program, but now they are reducing it to 4. So they said they would work with the professions and regulators to reform the training so that students have better experience of learning that prepares them to work in a modern NHS. However, they'll use a shorter period, okay? So all undergraduate degrees must prepare doctors or nurses to meet the outcomes of graduates set by the relevant professional regulator. They're also introducing a medical licensing assessment, which will ensure medical students meet a common threshold for safe medical practice in the UK by providing assurance to patients and the public. So with the funding, again, it is £2.4 billion over the next 5 years, okay, to fund additional education and training places. And this is on top of an existing increase to education and training investment that they have already done, reaching a record of £6.1 billion over the next 2 years. And they wish to review this workforce plan every 2 years, and then also increase the NHS workforce by 300,000 by the year 2036-2037, and also expand the dentistry training places by 40%, okay? And then they also wish to use new technology like artificial intelligence, etc., and robotics, okay? And also plan to back this whole project by £2.4 billion over the next 5 years. Like I said, it's in 3 parts. They want to train, they want to retain, and they want to reform. So to train, they are increasing the number of training places so that more people can get into the schools and more people can graduate as doctors and nurses and other allied health professionals to join the workforce, and then train a lot of apprentices, doctors, nurse associates, etc., so that they can, quickly get the skills and the knowledge that they need to be able to join the NHS, right? To reduce the shortage. And with retaining, they've also promised that they are going to, make it easy for people that have retired to come back easily and then join, or reduce the number of people that are retiring by giving them very flexible shifts. And then for those that are working parents, people that have children as well, make it very easy for them or very flexible for them to take shifts so that they'll be able to keep them more, and also provide training so that people will get the required standard that they need to be able to work efficiently. To reform as well, they want to change the way we work by developing the technology sector so that working will be much easier. They want to use more robotics and more technology to make the work easier for all of us. So that is basically the main things that they are looking at in this 15-year long-term workforce plan. Okay, I hope I made sense, but basically that is that, okay? I went into more details with the international recruitment and then the training aspects, and then the rest I brushed it over. So basically that is that, okay? I'll leave links to these documents or blogs that talk about this into details so you can read it for yourself. But basically this is a summary of the NHS long-term workforce plan. Thank you for watching. Bye.